Early retirement. It's the dream that so many of us chase, imagining a life free from alarm clocks, office meetings, and the daily grind. Social media and financial gurus make it sound idyllic, almost like a non-stop vacation. But the truth about early retirement is far more complex than anyone lets on. Beneath the surface of freedom and flexibility lie challenges and unexpected realities that many people don't prepare for. If you're thinking about retiring early, you need to hear the whole story, not just the glamorous parts that are endlessly promoted. The first truth is that early retirement requires more than just a financial cushion. Sure, having enough money saved or invested is a huge part of the equation, but it's not the only part. What many people don't realize is how much of their identity is tied to their work. For years, your job gives you structure, purpose, and a sense of accomplishment. When you step away from that, there's often an emotional void. At first, it feels like freedom, but over time, questions creep in. Who am I without my career? How do I find purpose when I'm not working? It's something few people discuss, yet is one of the most challenging aspects of leaving work behind early. Another overlooked reality is how early retirement impacts your social life. While you might picture yourself spending more time with friends and family, the truth is that most of them will still be working. They won't have the same free time you do, and that can lead to feelings of isolation. It's not uncommon for early retirees to struggle with loneliness, especially if they don't actively cultivate new social connections. Finding a community of like-minded people who also retired early can help, but this takes effort and intention. It's not something that magically falls into place. One of the most shocking truths about early retirement is how quickly boredom can set in. We all think we'd love to do nothing, but doing nothing gets old fast. This is especially true if you don't have hobbies or interests that keep you engaged. Travel, for instance, is often romanticized as the go-to activity for early retirees. But even travel loses its charm if it becomes your full-time occupation. Without a plan for how you'll spend your time, early retirement can feel less like a blessing and more like a trap. The financial side of early retirement is also more complicated than it seems. Many people focus on reaching a certain savings number, but they don't account for how unpredictable life can be. Unexpected expenses, economic downturns, and inflation can quickly erode your nest egg. Healthcare costs, in particular, are a major issue for early retirees, especially in countries without universal healthcare. If you retire in your 40s or 50s, you'll likely face decades of medical expenses before you're eligible for government programs, like Medicare. In the U.S., private insurance is an option, but it's costly, and coverage isn't always comprehensive. Another financial pitfall is underestimating lifestyle creep. When you suddenly have more free time, it's tempting to spend more money on dining out, entertainment, or pursuing new hobbies. These expenses can add up quickly, especially if they weren't part of your original budget. It's also worth considering how retiring early affects your long-term financial security. You might not be contributing to retirement accounts anymore, which means you're relying entirely on what you've already saved. And if your investments don't perform as expected, the consequences can be significant. One of the lesser discussed aspects of early retirement is the mental toll it can take. Without the structure of work, it's easy to fall into unhealthy patterns. Sleeping in, binge-watching TV, and neglecting physical activity can become habits. Over time, this can lead to feelings of lethargy and even depression. Staying physically and mentally active is crucial, but it takes discipline. It's one thing to imagine a life of leisure. It's another to live it without letting it affect your health and well-being. Despite these challenges, early retirement isn't a bad goal. It just requires a deeper understanding of what it really entails. The key to a successful early retirement is preparation, not just financially, but emotionally and socially. Start by envisioning what your daily life will look like. What will you do with your time? How will you stay engaged and connected? Having a clear plan can make the transition smoother and more fulfilling. It's also important to create a financial strategy that accounts for uncertainty. This means not only saving enough, but also diversifying your investments and keeping a portion of your assets liquid. Consider working with a financial advisor who understands the unique challenges of early retirement. They can help you plan for healthcare costs, inflation, and other variables that might affect your savings. Another tip is to experiment with early retirement before you fully commit. If possible, take an extended leave from work or reduce your hours to see how you adjust to a slower pace of life. This trial run can help you identify any gaps in your plan and make adjustments before you step away permanently. It's a low-risk way to test the waters and ensure that early retirement is truly the right path for you. Maintaining a sense of purpose is also critical. For some people, this means starting a new business, volunteering, or pursuing creative projects. For others, it might involve mentoring younger professionals or continuing to work part-time in a less demanding role. The key is to find something that gives you a sense of fulfillment and keeps you motivated. Purpose doesn't have to come from work, but it does need to come from somewhere. One major takeaway is that early retirement isn't as simple as reaching a financial milestone and walking away from work. It's a life transition that requires thoughtful preparation and ongoing effort. The idea of retiring early is appealing because it promises freedom, but that freedom comes with responsibilities. It's about creating a life that's not just free from work, but full of purpose, connection, and security. If you're willing to look beyond the surface and address the realities of early retirement, it can be a rewarding and life-changing decision. But going in with your eyes wide open is the only way to truly enjoy the benefits.